seats. Our guests, we can get seats in the gallery. 30 minutes late. Anyway. Welcome, everyone, to this recess meeting on January 17, 2019 of the County Board. Call this meeting to order. If everyone would please stand. Mr. Cowan, County Board, Ms. Cowan is going to lead us in the pledge this morning, and then introduce introduce the clergy person this morning. Ms. Cowan.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Executive Walsh, Madam Speaker, leaders of both parties, my fellow board members, good morning. As part of my introduction to today's speaker, I want to offer a few words on diversity. Will County is one of the geographically largest counties in the state, but it is also one of the most diverse. And as anyone in this room will tell you, diversity can be challenging. What's right for Crete or Naperville may not be what's right for Wilmington or Joliet. But as anyone in this room will also tell you, diversity is our greatest strength. Diversity is a benefit when it comes to solving problems, the complex problems we are presented with as legislators. When we tackle problems, we seek out the voices of many people with different experiences, educations, and backgrounds. It's only through that complex, challenging process that we will be led to the right solutions for our complex problems. And thankfully, Will County is diverse in a variety of metrics. One of our strengths is our religious diversity. In the northern part of the county, we are home to a vibrant Muslim American community, and we are stronger because of them. To that end, it is my pleasure to introduce to you today Imam Harun Ahmed. Imam Ahmed currently serves as the Imam of the Muslim Association of Bolingbrook, where he leads daily prayers, delivers Friday sermons, and counsels children and adults. Originally from New York City, Imam Ahmed has memorized the entire Holy Quran by heart. He holds a bachelor's degree in engineering, and he is currently pursuing a master's degree in Islamic studies. Imam Ahmed believes that we as Americans have the opportunity to demonstrate to the rest of the world how human beings of diverse backgrounds can work together to create peace, harmony, and mutual respect for the benefit of all humanity.
Thank you. Good morning to one and all.
Good morning.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi ameen. In the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Almighty God, you are the most merciful. Have mercy on us, for your mercy is perfect. Forgive us, O Lord, for your forgiveness brings abundance and prosperity. Protect us with your perfect protection that leaves none unprotected. And guide us with your guidance that leaves none unguided. I ask you, O Lord, that you bestow upon our leaders the understanding to choose that which is right, and the fortitude to abstain from which is wrong, and the wisdom to lead us and guide us to a prosperous future. There may be times when the going gets tough, when perhaps emotions run high. So, O Lord, bless them with the tools of righteousness. Unite them with the tools of collectivity to not only see the interest of their communities, but most importantly, the wisdom to govern our county and its people collectively. Ours is a nation of diversity. We are indeed a microcosm of all cultures of the world. So, O Lord, help us find justice and peace for all, and help us perform our duties of good citizenship. And guide our leaders day and night through sickness and health, happiness and sadness, so they may not only understand the problems facing our county and its people, but most importantly, give a perfect solution for the betterment of the entire community. God says, "Have mercy on the creatures of the earth, and the God of the universe will have mercy on you." God says in the Quran, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Translation: Our Lord, grant us the good in this world as well as the good in the hereafter, and protect us from the torment of the fire. I conclude this prayer with the supplication of Abraham when he says, "Lord, you have knowledge of all that we conceal and all that we reveal. Nothing on the earth or in the heavens is hidden from you, O God. So, O Almighty, shower us with your eternal providence and your ultimate bounties of this world and the next. And lastly, O Lord, bless our county, our state, our nation, and accept this prayer." Amen. Amen. Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Barry.
Here.
Frizzalone.
Here.
Ogala.
Here.
Summers.
Here.
Cook.
Here.
Mustis.
Here.
Moran.
Present.
Rice.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Traynere.
Here.
Fritz. Mueller.
Here.
Gould.
Here.
Van Dyne.
Here.
Balich.
Here.
Brooks.
Here.
Parker.
Here.
Ventura.
Present.
Dallinger.
Here.
Markham.
Here.
Berkowitz.
Here.
Cowan.
Here.
Tuminello.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Curlitis.
Here.
Winfrey.
Here. 26 present.
26 present, we have a quorum. Entertaining a motion to place on file the certificate of publication. Moved by Ms. Summers, second by Ms. Berkowitz. Please to call the roll.
Barry.
Yes.
Frizzalone.
Yes.
Ogala.
Yes.
Summers.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Mustis. Moran.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Traynere.
Yes.
Fritz. Mueller.
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Van Dyne.
Yes.
Balich.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Ventura.
Yes.
Dallinger.
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Cowan.
Yes.
Tuminello.
Yes.
Weigel.
Yes.
Curlitis.
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes. 26 affirmative.
26 affirmative, the motion is carried. Approval of minutes, minutes of our Will County Board recess meeting of December 20th. Entertain a motion by Mr. Moran, second by Ms. Rice. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Cook and second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried. Motion to approve the minutes of the executive session of the county board minutes done December 20th, 2018. Moved by Mr. Markham, seconded by Mr. Van Dyne. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Fritz. All in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried. Madam Clerk, would you please acknowledge the elected officials and the media that are here to this morning?
Today we have Auditor Duffy Blackburn, County Clerk Lawrence Daly Berry, County Executive Larry Walsh, Recorder of Deeds Karen Stuckel, State's Attorney James Glasgow, Treasurer Tim Brophy. And for the media we have Alice Fabre,
and Megan Horsted from the Times Weekly, and Nick Ryer. He was here. He was here.
Thank you. Next up, we got some honorary proclamations to read. County board members from their desk. And the first one up is recognize the week of January 2026 as School Choice Week in Will County. And then Mr. Frizzalone will read a proclamation from his desk.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. Whereas all children in Will County should have access to the highest quality education possible, and whereas Will County recognizes the important role that an effective education plays in preparing all students in Will County to be successful adults, and whereas quality education is critically important to the economic vitality of Will County, and whereas Will County is home to a multitude of high-quality public and non-public schools from which parents can choose for their children, in addition to families who educate their children in the home. And whereas educational variety not only helps to diversify our economy, but also enhances the vibrancy of our community. And whereas Will County has many high-quality teaching professionals in all types of school settings who are committed to educating our children. And whereas School Choice Week is celebrated across the country by millions of students, parents, educators, schools, and organizations to raise awareness of the need for effective educational options. Now therefore be it resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive do hereby recognize January 26, 2019 as Will County School Choice Week and call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens, dated the 17th day of January 2019, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Dollinger. Any kind of discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and motion carried. Next up, we're recognizing Sister Vivian Whitehead on the 40th anniversary of founding of the Center of Correctional Concerns. And that proclamation is going to be read by Mr. Ferry.
Thank you, Executive Walsh. Whereas Sister Vivian Whitehead is a member of the St. Francis of Mary Immaculate, of the Sisters of St. Francis and Mary Immaculate, with a bachelor's degree from the College of St. Francis and a PhD from St. Bonaventure University. And whereas, while studying criminal justice at the University of Notre Dame, Sister Vivian was encouraged to do counseling work at Will County Jail. And whereas Sister Vivian realized, in addition to the need for drug, alcohol, and mental health counseling, 70% of the jail population did not have a high school diploma. And whereas, in 1979, Sister Vivian founded the Center for Correctional Concerns to implement her calling to help those men and women who wanted a second chance for an education. And whereas, she formed a 501c3 agency to allow the center to receive charitable contributions and grants, which continue to fund the center to this day. And whereas Sister Vivian believed in the need to give offenders and their families hope by offering education, resources, recovery instruction, and spiritual inspiration. And these goals remain in the mission statement for the center yet today. And whereas Sister Vivian headed the center from 1979 to 1988 and returned in 1999 to continue her ministry to men and women of the ADF. And whereas during its 40-year history, over 2,500 residents have earned their GED, a rate that is 30% higher than similar agencies in the area. Now therefore, be it proclaimed that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive hereby recognize and congratulate Sister Vivian Whitehead on the 40th anniversary of the founding of the Center for Correctional Concerns in 1979. Be it further proclaimed that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive express their appreciation to Sister Vivian for her work at the Will County Adult Detention Center and the positive effect on those Will County residents. Dated this 17th day of January 2019, signed Lawrence M. Walsh, Will County Executive, attested by Lauren Staley Ferry, Will County Clerk, and I so move.
Mr. Perry, second by Mr. Brooks. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried. Thank you, both of you. Old business, all resolutions approved at the November 2018 County Board meeting have been signed by the County Executive. Moving on to new business, and we have a presentation of energy saving programs, energy markets, and renewable energy you run a show, Sam? Good.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Morning. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, Mr. Executive, members of the board, my name is Sam Bleemer. I'm the Energy and Conservation Specialist for Will County, if we haven't yet had the pleasure of meeting. Today with me, I have Mike English of Tradition Energy. We're going to be doing a two-part presentation. I want to give a little overview of some of the energy efficiency work that we've been doing, some of the things that we have in the works, and then, if you recall, back in April, this county board elected to have our energy procured so that we could save money and also source some of our energy from renewable sources. So we're going to give an update on what those savings look like in actuality as compared to projections, and some of the options that we have going forward. But to get us started, I want to have the slide advance. Anastasia Tuskegee, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so just an intro. We're going to go over some of the efforts, like I said. We'll have an update on current and future projects. I want to preview the updated energy plan that we'll be sharing with you all this year, hopefully, and the energy procurement savings update. So for those who are not familiar and need a refresher, back in 2009 we received Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant funding, which really kick-started the energy efficiency work that we've done, and some of the projects that were done with that funding include the MCO pool roof and added insulation, the reflective roof that we have on Sunny Hill Nursing Home, some of the low E windows and revolving doors that were installed at Sunny Hill and elsewhere, and then we also have a green roof on top of this building. If you have never seen it and you would like to, let me know. $1 million of the EECBG funding was contributed to our landfill's gas-to-energy facility. This facility collects methane gas that's produced from the waste that decomposes on the site, and it uses CAT engines to generate electricity as a result. These figures are 2017's complete data, and our 2019 update document that will come out will have all of 2018's data, but we're closer to $3 million in revenue that we've generated from sale of electricity at this for this project, and then we have generated over 235 gigawatts, not megawatts, gigawatts of clean energy at this facility. One note I'd like to make that really expresses the motivation behind a lot of what we're doing is the Better Buildings Challenge. This is a commitment to attempt to reduce 20% of your building portfolio-wide energy over 10 years. We joined this challenge in 2012 with a benchmark year for data of 2009. At the end of 2017, we were at approximately 8% reduction. There's no penalty if we don't meet this goal. It's quite challenging. And really, it's our motivation to strive above and beyond what we would normally be doing in an attempt to meet that goal. So we go to the Better Building Summit and get to talk about the work we're doing, which is usually held in Washington, D.C. And we get to, again, see and project across our nation what others are doing, learn what we could be doing better, and educate folks on what we've been successful doing. One policy I want to bring up, I'm not going to delve too much into solar today because there will be a solar orientation committee of the whole on February 14th after the Forest Preserve meeting to go into details regarding what's happening with solar. But the Future Energy Jobs Act has been the largest policy related to energy in the state of Illinois' history. So this is motivating a lot of the incentive dollars for the energy efficiency rebates and incentives that we receive. It's also the incentive, it's also legislation that allocated incentives for renewable energy, specifically solar and wind, amongst other types of renewable energy in the state of Illinois. It changed the way our utilities generate their revenue, and it also committed our RPS, which is the Renewable Portfolio Standard for the state, to meet 25% of total energy demand using renewable sources from newly constructed solar and wind. A new project that we are delving into, and Becky, I believe, is here. We will be participating in demand response at our Sunny Hill Nursing Home. Demand response essentially means that we receive a payment from ComEd to be available to shift part of our load off-grid in the event of an emergency. An emergency has not happened in 15 years, so this is very unlikely. However, the generator we have at that facility allows us to go off-grid. Part of the building does not create any safety issues whatsoever. We test the generator once a month, or once a term for the demand response program to demonstrate how much load we can shift. And for doing that, we receive approximately $8,000 a year. And going forward, right now, this program is only effective during the summer months because that's usually when the grid experiences stress, if it's going to be stressed. But going forward, the program is changing to turn into a year-round program, so the revenue generating potential of our participation in this program is growing. And I'd just like to touch on something that we do day to day, a lot of our energy efficiency projects, such as lighting. At our Child Advocacy Center across the street, when we initially purchased that building, we went in and did some energy efficiency work, and one of those projects was lighting. And you can see that just from doing that project, we received $7,000, closer to $8,000 in incentives from ComEd, and then also we're getting approximately $2,000 annually just in that small facility. To give you an idea, when we do larger projects, we recently or are in progress of transitioning all of our lighting in this facility to LED. Just to give you an idea, multiplied many times over, how much money that really does save taxpayers and allow us to reinvest into different programs every year. So I'd like to give a little breakdown of what that impact looks like. We've taken about 1,300 passenger vehicles off the road worth of kilowatt hours or electricity energy used. We've saved about 1,300 homes worth of gas use every year. And then we've filled over 4 million bathtubs full of water and water that we've conserved. I try to find the most applicable for water, and I think we most know what a bathtub is. So that's a breakdown in layman's terms of what does that really mean at the core of what we're doing, and this is the impact on our community. I also like to talk about money and the savings that we will experience over our projects from 2012 until now. Over the lifetime of those projects, we will receive over $5.6 million in savings and in cash incentives. And to give you an idea, over $3 million of those savings has already been realized. Looking forward, we are going to be bringing you all a 2019 Energy and Conservation Plan. The first Energy and Conservation Plan was adopted by the County Board in 2012. That is in progress, and it's going to go over some of the things you see on the slide: energy management, renewable energy, energy efficiency, transportation, water. We're really going to try to cover a wide spectrum of what we're doing. And this is a follow-up to the 5-year energy and conservation review that we shared with you all in 2018. And that plan breaks down all of the projects we've done, all the related savings, and those are both publicly available if you would like a copy. So at this point, I want to introduce Mike English from Tradition Energy. In 2018, April, we procured energy, like I had said before, and now it's time for us to take a look and prove to you all that based on your good decision making, we're realizing savings and that there's additional opportunities for us to take advantage of. So, Mike?
Good morning. What's your sandwich?
I'll be your Vanna.
All right. Thank you, Sam. So as Sam mentioned, my name is Mike English. I'm from Tradition Energy. Just a quick backstory to how we got here. So Tradition Energy, we are a full-service energy advisory firm, specifically advising clients with energy procurement and management needs. Part of how we partnered with the county is through the U.S. Communities Cooperative Program. Will County is a member of U.S. Communities. U.S. Communities is an intergovernmental purchasing cooperative, and so U.S. Communities did an RFP for our services to assist their members, and so that's how we came to where we are today, assisting the county with the energy procurement management needs. Jump to the next one here. So, give an overview of how the energy procurement program has performed. Like Sam mentioned, we executed agreements in April of last year to take effect in July of 2018. Those were 36-month agreements, so we'll review how they performed for the past 6 months they've been in place. And then diving into what was put in place for the electricity side of things. Currently, the county is sourcing 50% of the electricity from renewable resources, talking about opportunities to potentially expand on that. And then just give a quick forecast where we foresee energy prices headed through the remainder of this year. So just a quick recap of what we talked about back in April that led us to this decision. The chart here shows what ComEd, the local utility company's historical energy prices have been going back to 2008. As you can see, they've been fairly volatile. There's a lot of peaks and valleys there. And so that green line indicates where the current rate is that is procured. And so it gives you some context there. Obviously, based on where the line is in conjunction with the chart, the county made a very good decision, wise choice in historical context based on where the rate is moving forward. So the result of the RFP we conducted with the suppliers, Constellation Energy is highlighted there. They are currently the supplier that the county is procuring the electricity from. We have the various terms there associated with the different prices that have been delineated. The county ended, like I said, going with 36 months. This is including a 50% green adder, so 50% of all the electricity that's consumed annually comes from renewable resources. And then just the recommendation, how that boils down from the numbers perspective. We obviously have that 36-month column on the right-hand side highlighted, but then additional boxes in yellow indicate what was implemented. So we have the rate of 2.98 cents per kilowatt hour, resulting in an annual energy budget of about $508,000, assuming the historical annual consumption of about 17 million kilowatt hours. That results in about a $15,000 annual savings compared to what was being in place with ComEd. And it works out to about 2.9% annual cost reduction. Same idea here with the natural gas. Natural gas is equally volatile and has had a lot of peaks and valleys over the past. This is actually going back to 2003 from when the county had originally procured the gas. Since 2003, it's been on a market-based product, so it just changes every month with supply and demand. That green line again indicates where the county has procured gas moving forward for that 36-month time frame, effective July 1st, 2018. So again, a very good decision, historically speaking, and moving forward will certainly perform well. And then the results of that RFP, Vanguard Energy is the natural gas supplier that the county is moving forward with, again, for that 36-month term. These are in dollars per decatherm, so that's $2.94 or 29.4 cents per therm. And again, what that means as far as the budget. So going back to 2003, the average annual price has been about $4.89 per decatherm, or 48.9 cents per therm. Compared to that $2.94 per decatherm price, should result in about a 40% annualized cost reduction. Your new budget is about $200,000 compared to $342,000, so pretty significant benefit there with the county and they're moving forward with that agreement with the natural gas. And so how they performed to date, again, these took effect July. That red line there on that chart indicates what ComEd has done since July through the end of December. And overall, the net benefit to the county on the electricity procurement has been a benefit of over $12,000. Likewise, on the natural gas, that red line indicates what would have been in place if nothing had been done. That green line is where you procured. Again, positive result there of just over $15,000 since July. So putting the two together and where we expect the targets to be, the electricity is currently at about 80% of its estimated annual target for savings. So we certainly expect that to outperform as we complete the remainder of this year, as well as the other 2 years on the back end of this. The natural gas hasn't performed to the degree that we expected yet. Primarily, the reason for that is the seasonality with how the county uses natural gas. Almost 70% of all the gas consumption occurs during the months of November, December, January, February, and March. We've only had essentially a month and a half of that, of measurable data. So we expect that number to increase when we revisit this in the next 6 months. But as I stated earlier, the total financial benefit from the procurement initiative, from the county's decision-making, has resulted in just over $27,000 versus the alternative of what was in place before. So, just like I mentioned, the electricity agreement with Constellation, it was the county's decision to move forward with a 50% target to include the energy coming from renewable resources. At the time, compared to the offers that didn't include that, that was about a 3/10 of a penny per kilowatt hour premium, or about $5,100 per year in additional cost or investment to increase that renewable percentage. At any point, the county can elect to increase that percentage throughout the remainder of the agreement. And so, working with Sam and Dean, we're evaluating potential opportunities for the county to increase that if you guys so choose to do so. And we're running a formal process of vetting all the options and making sure that we can do that for the lowest financial cost to do so. I have an explanation of what RECs are, renewable energy certificates. Obviously, the benefit being you're financially committing the supplier to go out and generate renewable energy to meet your energy needs. Currently, the Constellation supplier is doing that with wind resources in Iowa and Western Illinois. So our energy outlook moving forward, this is all for 2019 and beyond. Currently, we're projecting that natural gas prices will be, on average, about 3% lower than they were in 2018, predominantly driven by increased production numbers. We're on pace to set record daily production numbers for natural gas production. The biggest reason for that is because what happened last year was a relatively sustained winter, and natural gas inventory levels were depleted, and so as a result of that, the supply side of available working inventories has been reduced, and so there's an incentive to go produce more gas because the prices are relatively higher than they were 2 or 3 years ago. And so that, coupled with a few other factors from the demand side, we only foresee natural gas prices on whole decreasing about 3% compared to last year. And so this gives you a good representation as to what that net difference means from the supply and demand balance. As we talked about, we expect new production to come online. However, there are other things from the demand side that we have to pay attention to, such as our net exports of natural gas through liquefaction cargoes, Mexican exports, as well as residential and commercial demand increasing. Then we've had a record amount of new natural gas-fired power generation come online throughout the U.S. However, the net difference is more supply growth that's coming into the picture rather than demand, and that's why we foresee that marginal 3% decrease for 2019. compared to 2018. And then talking about the storage picture again, that red line indicates where we're forecasted to end this winter at. That blue line indicates what were the 5-year averages. So you can see that we're going to be at a significant reduction compared to where we're usually at for the end of winter. And so that's going to drive that incentive to have record production come online. As supply decreases, the price will become higher. So more incentive. And so when we talk about gas, we also have to talk about electricity. Natural gas is the marginal fuel used to generate electricity in this market. We refer to this market as PJM. PJM is the grid operator, and they schedule and manage power generation assets to meet supply and demand every day. And so natural gas being the marginal fuel to generate electricity will also dictate how electricity prices are going to move moving forward. So likewise, we foresee real-time electricity prices to decrease marginally about 4% compared to last year. As I mentioned, there has been a record amount of new natural gas-fired generation coming online, so it's going to be a balancing act moving forward with that supply-demand picture from the gas side, which will also drive power prices. The other side of the equation is the demand. So we talk about peak demand. Peak demand is the amount of generation that needs to be available at any given point in time to make sure that there isn't a blackout or a brownout. And so that green line represents what the peak demand was in PJM for last year. The blue line for 2019, obviously we're expecting that to increase. These are all based on weather normalized events. Obviously if we have a hotter than expected summer, that would drive that peak demand higher. So as we expect peak demand to increase, that's also going to have a pushing pull effect on the price of electricity. So again, not forecasting a significant drop, just a very marginal one. And then diving deeper into our region here in ComEd, we have the benefit of having a very diverse generation mix. We're not as heavily gas and coal sensitive in this region compared to other parts of the PJM. Obviously, we have the nuclear facilities here in our backyard. And as Sam mentioned earlier, the new initiatives from the state to generate more renewable resources here. So we have a very diverse power mix. So we're insulated from a lot of those sensitivities with gas. However, we still have to pay attention to them. So again, our forecast is specific to this region is about a 4% decrease compared to last year. But all that being said, we still foresee the county outperforming what was in place before, even taking into consideration that the market may decrease here marginally moving forward. So we still expect that the procurement initiatives will result in substantial savings for the county.
Okay, a lot of information there, Sam. Any questions for our land use department? Mr. Eustace?
So, Sam, well, I'll direct this to both of you. We had a lot of discussion when we went on this program about renewables and the percentage of renewables and so forth. But as I watched the presentation, one of the things we maybe didn't put in the mix in the discussion is there's renewable energy, but there's also clean energy. Right? Nuclear power plants is a clean energy. Now there's byproducts of the plants which may offset some things, but we never really talked about clean energy. Obviously, I don't think there's any coal burning, at least in this region, or on our grid. I don't think there's any coal burning facilities anymore. And that would not be very clean, right? That's dirty generation of energy. So we're 50% renewables, but we never really talked about, I don't recall us talking about the other 50% from clean energy. We have the nuclear power plant here, which is clean energy. I don't know, we potentially have some additional gas generation plants coming in the Will County. Is gas considered clean? Even though it's fossil? I'm just wondering.
By definition, it's not.
It is not.
It's fossil.
Okay. Is nuclear considered clean?
In Illinois, it is. It's part of the zero emission credit.
Okay.
So that is technically considered clean energy, not renewable.
So, if we asked you to say, look, we're going to take 50% renewable We want our other 50% to come from clean energy. Do they distinguish or categorize clean energy, renewable energy, dirty energy? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so each supplier will have a generation disclosure as far as where they're sourcing the energy onto the grid from. Constellation is the supplier that the county is currently with. They're owned by Exelon Corporation. Exelon owns the nuclear facilities here in Will County. So obviously part of their generation mix will be that. They're also going to have dirty fuel systems in there as well, such as natural gas and coal. They're not sourced with one particular asset. That being said, like we did with the obligating them to 50% renewable, to this point they don't do anything from a sourcing specifically from a clean, just renewable is what you're able to contract for. The remaining debt balance would be whatever they have available and they want to meet and put the grid to meet your
So we
remaining demand.
so we can't say that the other 50% come from clean energy.
I want to be careful. I'm not saying that it hasn't been done yet, so I don't know if it could be. So we can ask that question and let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Mr. Ventura?
So I wanted to clarify, so you're saying if we wanted to entertain the 100% renewable cost, there would be an investment, an increase in investment up front, but then a much bigger savings down the road?
So when it comes to choosing clean energy as a portion of the fuel mix that's powering, or that we're buying our energy from, the savings are going to be substantial regardless of what fuel mix we choose. It's just we will be making a bigger investment if you increase the amount of renewable energy that is procured, because we are essentially buying the RECs from the energy that is produced. So it depends on what the choice of the county board is and the motivation for choosing to do so. There'll still be savings, but the savings will be less than they are now, or if we had 0%.
Okay, so we invest in the RECs now, but based on the projection of other costs, the renewable energy will save us greater than what we're currently saving.
Let me rephrase. So when we buy, let's say we chose 0% renewable energy. We were just procuring our energy on the wholesale market with no purchase of renewable energy credits. We would be saving, and these numbers aren't proportionate, I'm just explaining for clarity. Let's say it would cost us $5 a year. If we chose 50% renewable energy to procure, it would cost us $5.50 a year. If we chose 100% renewable energy, it would cost us $6 a year. So there is the environmental benefit of procuring 100%. There is the public statement of procuring 100%, but the cost savings are going to be less overall if we procure from renewable sources, simply because it's a more expensive energy at this time.
Okay.
Do I have that correct, Mike?
And then did you say you were going to be bringing something forward for us to consider? And if so, when?
Yep, so we're in the process of evaluating offers for the remaining 50%. I would say we'll have something in conjunction with your discussion next month, so that we can have something for that meeting.
Yes, and just to be clear, because it can be complex when we're talking about all these different fuel mixes and we're buying RECs, and that means 50%. The amount that can be procured from renewable resources can be any amount between 0 and 100%. It doesn't have to be a hard 50 or 100 or 75 or 25. That choice is up to you all. And when we're talking about where our energy is actually coming from, who is producing the energy that has these lights on right now, it's usually whatever the nearest source is. So whatever the nearest generation plant that's serving our substation that's powering this facility, that's truly the power that is supporting us. When we say we're procuring from renewable resources, we are essentially buying the environmental attributes as if we were producing it right here on our own. So it supports the advancement of renewable energy and helps contribute to that renewable portfolio standard for the state. But I just want to explain that there's no line running from Western Illinois solar array to guarantee that those electrons, those exact electrons on the grid are what's powering this facility. Once an electron goes on the grid, they all dance around. So you're always getting what's closest to you, but there's the merit of supporting the 50% renewable energy procurement from a strategic standpoint.
Ms. Ogala?
Thanks, Sam. As always, very informational. And one of the things you guys talked about was conservation of various different things. And one thing I think that we need to, as a land use department, and those of us on the board need to start considering, with all the growth that we've experienced and with projects that want to come into Will County, one thing that I think we need to consider, aside from the forest preserve, which conserves property, is to look into a farmland preservation. Because if we don't look at this, or at least start a process, what we're going to have is wall-to-wall buildup. And as a county, we need to determine, is that what we want? Do we really think that it's important for every square inch of ground to be built, built upon? And our family, and many farm families, our conservation award-winning families, where they've gone and put in many practices that help with soil erosion, help with protecting the water from any chemicals or whatever leaching into the water system. Those are all things that we do as farmers. But I think as a whole, as a county board, we should look at, and your conservation plans, we need to start looking at and planning for preservation of farmland.
Yes, be happy to include that in the discussion for the energy plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mustis?
I'm sorry, I have one other real quick question. And this is partly for new members also. We have a landfill, and in that landfill, of course, our partner is in waste management, and we have methane generation there. In other words, we sell methane to, rather than burn it off, we divert it to electric generation. Is that considered clean or renewable?
So it depends who you're talking to. Most folks will say it's alternative just because eventually the methane volume produced will go away. So it's not an endless fuel stock, whereas the sun, hopefully, is an endless fuel stock for solar energy. I might be able to say from a standpoint of
from the market and legislative perspective, usually it's part of the RPS, the renewable portfolio standards, but like Sam said, there's a gray area there because you are being conservative in recycling the energy, so it's considered an alternative source.
So alternative sources could be anything. They could be clean, they can be not clean.
There are clear guidelines with it, what qualifies for that state renewable portfolio standard, and they break it down renewable, clean, alternative. I would think they've exhausted everything that could be creating energy from an alternative perspective, but there's an exhaustive list that's available.
And one other comment I would make, Sam, is that, of course, this is driven by economics also, but we do have additional opportunity to put more generators out at the landfill, I believe, don't we?
Yes, there's capacity for 4 additional, or 3, I apologize. Dean's holding up the 3 in the back.
3, okay, so
we are exploring another use for that fuel that would be more financially beneficial for both the county and waste.
For those of you another thing, so we can recapture. Right now, we're not using it all, so some of this being burned up, but we can capture that and send it for other.
Yes, we are in very, very preliminary talks with Waste Management about renewable energy pipeline projects.
Very good, thank you.
Anything else? Anyone else? Very interesting, Sam and Mike. Thank you very much. Keep moving forward out there, okay? Thank you. Moving on, our first committee, Land Use and Development Committee. Mr. Harris, Chairman.
Morning, County Executive, fellow county board members, and everyone else in attendance. Make a motion to open the public hearing for all land use cases.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Markham. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Barry,
Yes.
Frizzalone,
Yes.
Ogalla,
Yes.
Summers,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Mostes,
Yes.
Moran,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Traynere,
Yes.
Fritz, Mueller,
Yes.
Yes.
Van Dyne,
Yes.
Balich,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Ventura,
Yes.
Dollinger,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Berkowitz,
Yes.
Cowan,
Yes.
Tumanello,
Yes.
Weigel,
Yes.
Carlitis,
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes. 26 affirmative.
26 affirmative. We are in public hearing. Please be advised, absolutely no new evidence or information will be allowed once this land use public hearing is closed. We have 3 cases this morning to be heard. Case ZC 18-059, ZC 18-076, and ZC 18-080. We have one person signed up, Mr. Paul Siegel, and it says only if questions of, okay, you do not want to talk, okay. Okay, anybody from the public on any of these 3 cases? Anybody from the public that wishes to speak on any of these 3 cases? One more call. Anyone from the public that would like to speak on these 3 cases? Mr. Harris.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for all land use cases.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Ventura. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry,
Yes.
Frizzalone,
Yes.
Ogalla,
Yes.
Summers,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Mostes,
Yes.
Moran,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Traynere,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Van Dyne,
Yes.
Balich,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Ventura,
Yes.
Dollinger,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Berkowitz,
Yes.
Cowan,
Yes.
Tumanello,
Yes.
Weigel,
Yes.
Carlitis,
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes.
26 affirmative.
26, we are out of the public hearing. Mr. Harris, please continue.
The first zoning case is 18059. This is a special use permit for rural events. It's located in Lockport Township, commonly known as vacant property on South River Road, Lockport, Illinois. Planning and zoning approved 5-0. Land use approves 7-0 with for rural events with 6 conditions. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Ventura. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Tumanello, second Ms. Parker. All in favor say by aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Next case is 18-076. This is a special use permit for a solar farm with a variance lot from 300 feet to 0 feet. It's located in Jackson Township, currently known as vacant property on West Sharp Road in Elwood, Illinois. Planning and zoning approved 7-0 for the solar farm with 12 conditions. Land use approved 7-0 supplemental special use permit for the solar farm with 12 conditions. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Van Dyne. Any questions? Any questions? Ms. Ogalla.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment in case somebody was wondering why we would have a variance for lot frontage from 300 feet to 0 feet. And that would be because this property is landlocked, so they don't have any frontage, so we allow them this. So just in case somebody was curious as to why we were doing that. Thank you.
Thank you for the information. Any questions? Any other questions? Question, Mr. Tumanello?
Yes. Thank you.
I brought this up in committee this morning, and we understand that there's a lot of individuals right now running to go get solar approved in communities, and for the effort, you know, when they come out with the drawing, the state of Illinois is going to help them out financially. That list comes out mid to end March. Once that list comes out, there's going to be 10%, possibly more, of those individuals are going to be picked. The rest of them are going to have to go back in the lottery for the following year. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do with this one. But I did ask Mary of the legalities, and she said it would not be legal, so I'm going to ask the speaker at this time to assign, after I get done explaining what I'm asking, to assign this to a committee to look at for potential amendments. So what's going to happen here, just to give you guys an idea on this one, we are going to approve it today. It missed the lottery for 2019. This is good for 1 year. Before it can even go in the lottery for 2020, it's going to expire and be back before us for an extension. Later in the hearing, you're going to hear in another case from the resolutions, we're offering a 6-month extension to another one. The same thing's going to happen. It's going to expire. They're going to have to apply for an extension. And then they're going to have to apply for another extension to see if they get into 2020 lottery. While I'm a yes vote on this, I just want everyone to understand that we should be looking at a longer period of time for extensions and potentially a longer period of time for when we approve the special use. In 2008, we had an economic downturn that was so severe that a lot of individuals and builders had surveys already platted. They were coming back to us over and over and over and requesting extensions in hopes that the economy was going to be better. And it took a long time before it got better. So they were constantly clogging up our system. The same thing is going to happen because we already have 17 of these after today. We'll have 17 if they won't get approved. 17 of these coming back over and over and over. As soon as that list comes out in March, all the ones that didn't make it, maybe 1 or 2 make it, the other ones are going to come back over and over. And the cost for an extension is $0 to the person asking for the extension. However, all the staff time has to continually go through, put these on the agendas, go through the land use, come back to planning, come back here. It's just a waste of time. We should be offering a longer extension, and we should be offering, because we understand the nature of these solar farms with the lottery and understanding the benefits from the state of Illinois, we should be offering a longer term special use right out of the box. Unfortunately, I was going to make an amendment to add this to today's just for strictly for solar farms, yes. But unfortunately, that would not be legal, so we couldn't do it. But I'll be a yes vote, but I'm asking if we could take a look at that maybe, because it's just a waste of time. We're just going to keep seeing these over and over every month, and it's definitely a money loser for the town.
Mr. Gould?
Thank you, Mr. Executive.
Lauren, would you show me his abstaining, please?
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Lauren, call the roll.
Barry,
Yes.
Frizzalone,
Yes.
Ogalla,
Yes.
Summers,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Mustis,
Yes.
Moran,
Yes.
Rice,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Traynere,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Gould,
Abstain.
Van Dyne,
Yes.
Balich,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Ventura,
Yes.
Dollinger,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Berkowitz,
Yes.
Cowan,
Yes.
Tumanello,
Yes.
Weigel,
Yes.
Carlitis,
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes. 25 affirmative, 1 abstention.
Motion has carried. Continue, Mr. Harris.
Next case is 18-080. This is a special use permit for a solar farm, commonly known as a vacant property on South Route 53 in Braywood, Illinois. Planning and zoning approved 7-0 with 11 conditions. Land use approved 7-0 with 11 conditions. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Van Dyne. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Summers, second by Ms. Cook. All in favor, somebody saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried. You a yes on that time?
Yes, thank you.
The Land Use and Development Committee has one item placed on file. This is an application for the aggregate surface mining permit by Vulcan Construction Material LP. The address of mine is 595 West Laraway Road, Joliet, Illinois, 60436. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Muslin. And any discussion? Being none, previous roll by Ms. Traynere, second by Mr. Markham. All in favor, so say by aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
We have a resolution 19-1. It's authorizing the extension of a special use permit. Zoning case 17-036. It's located in Creek Township, commonly known as the vacant property on East Goodnow Road in Creek, Illinois. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Summers. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. O'Gala, second by Ms. Dollinger. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
The next Land Use and Development Committee meeting is scheduled for February 11, 2019 at 10:30 a.m. There has been a change in the chair for this committee. Tyler Markham, County Board Member Tyler Markham will be taking over as the chair and will be presiding over the Land Use Committee from this day forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Next up, Finance Committee, Mr. Harris, chairperson.
Morning, County Executive, other County Board members, and everyone else in attendance. We have a monthly financial report to be placed on file. This is a report from the Illinois Department of Revenue showing sales tax remitted to the Will County for the month of October 2018 to be $1,715,721.07. The RTA tax received is $2,036,236.03. The total received $3,751,957.10. We also have a Will County Treasurer report dated November 30th, 2018. And the Will County Treasurer quarterly report September 1st, 2018 through November 30th, 2018. We have the Will County semi-annual report on 6/1/18 through 11/30/2018. And we have the Will County Treasurer annual report from 12/1/2017 through November 30th, 2018. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Rice. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Cook, second by Ms. Workowitz. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
We have Resolution 19-2. This is appropriating grant funds in the Will County Sheriff budget from the Department of Homeland Security Grant Program. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Duran. Any question? Any question? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Fritz. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
We have Resolution 19-3 is authorizing the county executive to execute necessary documents for delinquent tax program. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Van Dyke. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Dollinger, second by Mr. Valich. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
The next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for February 5th, 2019 at 10 a.m. We're also looking to schedule our first budget workshop on March 8th, 2018. You should be getting confirmation within the next week or two. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Next up, Public Works and Transportation, Mr. Moran. Chairman.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Don.
This morning, we have Resolution 19-4 confirming award of contract to PT Farrell Construction Company, $3,357,579.26, led on December 19, 2018, to Mills Road, County Highway 51 at Brick Street, County Highway 54, County Board District 8, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Brooks. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Cook, second by Mr. Van Dyne. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 19-5 confirming award of contract to various contractors led on December 19, 2018, countywide maintenance material, bituminous patching, all county board districts, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Moran, second by Ms. Summers. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Dollinger, second by Ms. Cook. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, the motion is carried.
Resolution 19-6 confirming award of contract to various contractors led on December 19, 2018, countywide maintenance material, bituminous prime, all county board districts, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Moran, second by Ms. Cowan. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Markham, second by Ms. Cook. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 19-7 confirming award of contract to various contractors led on December 19, 2018, countywide maintenance material, various aggregate, all county board districts, and I so move.
By Mr. Moran, second by Ms. Dollinger. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll moved by Mr. Tumanel, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
And because we have to pay for all this stuff, 19-8, adopting IDOT resolution for improvement by county under the Illinois Highway Code for countywide maintenance material, all county board districts using MFD funds, $3,881,850, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Moran, second by Ms. Rice. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Ogala, second by Ms. Traynere. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 19-9 authorizing approval of the establishment of altered speed zone 572, County Board District 1, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Van Dyne. Previous roll by Ms. Summers, second by Ms. Ogala. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 19-10, supplemental resolution for improvement by county under the Illinois Highway Code for Cedar Road, County Highway 4 at Division Street, County Highway 75, using additional motor fuel tax funds, $6,176.30, County Board District 7, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Harris. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Ballard, second by Mr. Weigel. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 19-11, authorizing approval of professional services supplemental agreement for engineering services for Pauling, Goodnow Road, County Highway 23 over Plum Creek, County Board District 1, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Moran, second by Ms. Summers. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Ms. Traynere. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 19-12, authorizing an agreement between the County of Will and Chi-Cap Pipeline Company, whose contractor operator is BP Pipelines North America Incorporated, for reimbursement for relocating facilities along 135th Street, County Highway 35, from Smith Road to Emily Lane, County Board District 7, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Ballard. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Dollinger, second by Ms. Fritz. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 19-13, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Lockport and the County of Will for installation, maintenance, and energy of traffic signals at the intersection of 143rd Street and Prologis Parkway and Ridge Circle in the County of Will, County Board District 7, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Frizolo. Any discussion, any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Gallis, second by Ms. Dollinger. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All, motion is carried.
At last month's meeting, I asked the county board members forward to me and include Laura Dunn in a correspondence, any concerns you have for transportation issues in your district. I've received quite a few of them, but there's a lot of districts that I haven't received any information from so far. And I know Laura sent an email out there, everybody reminded them. But if you guys could get that stuff in, I'd like to sit down and start reviewing it and going through it with staff. So I appreciate your cooperation. The next Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting is scheduled for February 7, 2019 at 9 a.m.
Thank you, John. Next up, Judicial Committee, Mr. Markham, Chairman.
Good morning, everyone. I'll be a lot quicker than Mr. Moran was. We have no items for our consideration. I will just mention really quick that Chief Judge Shainstead did come to executive to talk about the expungement fair, which is being held on June 22nd at the courthouse. I'll have more information to come. And our next meeting is February 5th at 9 a.m. and it's going to be a lot of fun, so everybody should come.
Okay, Mr. Markham. Next up, Public Health and Safety Committee, Ms. Summers, Chairperson.
We have one item for consideration. It's Resolution 19-14, renewing contract for pharmaceutical and consulting services at Sunny Hill Nursing Home in Isola.
Moved by Ms. Summers, second by Ms. Rice. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Cook, seconder by Mr. Van Dyne. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary motion is carried.
I just have two announcements. I want to remind everyone that we will be doing a groundbreaking for our county health department on Tuesday, February 5th at 1 p.m. Hopefully everyone will be there for this. The second announcement is that we did move our meeting from Tuesday the 5th to February 6th, which is a Wednesday. We are going to be hosted by Sunny Hill Nursing Home. This will include a lunch, and hopefully everyone that has not been there to do a tour, including all of our new people, will be there for this. And that was all I have.
Thank you, Lori. Next up, Legislative and Policy Committee, Ms. Traynere, Chairman person.
Good morning, everyone. I have, we just have one resolution this morning. This is something that was asked of us by NACO, supporting the resolution of air ambulances under the Airline Deregulation Act. You should have the resolution in your packet. We'll be sending this on to NACO. This has to do with air ambulances. Usually if you need an air ambulance, you're probably not too conscious at the time. And you don't really get a choice in who's moving you from hither and yon to whatever said hospital or facility you need to go to. Certainly you are not in a position to shop around for the best price. And so hopefully this will, if it moves forward, help with some of those problems going forward. So I ask for your support on this resolution by making a motion to approve it.
Any comments? Mr. Mello?
Thank you. And while I would agree with Ms. Traynere, I do have to ask a question. By removing the air ambulances from the definition of air carrier from the federal regulations, does that also remove it from the regulations that keep it safely in the sky?
I sure hope not. Mr. Moran is the expert on this. He brought this forward from the Transportation Committee at NACO. So, Mr. Moran, you are on.
This would only remove it from the Airline Deregulation Act, which means that what happens right now is some states have tried to regulate this, and they've been sued in federal court, and the federal court has said that you can't regulate it because they're covered under the ADA. And so what this would do is this would allow states or the federal government itself to regulate the air ambulance industry, which right now, it was exempted out of the air deregulation. It was included in the Airline Deregulation Act, something by mistake. It was overlooked. It wasn't something that they considered when they did the legislation. This has been on NACO's agenda. It hasn't been on it for a few years, but it has been in it in the past. It would not do anything to prevent them from being regulated by the FAA or anyone else. What this would do is it would allow some local control over regulation or federal control over regulations that might help control the cost. The costs have increased. In the resolution, they list the years of 2010 to 2014. The average cost has gone from $15,000 to $30,000 for transport. In many cases today, those charges range from $50,000 to $70,000. And the price is just, it's crazy. The Medicare only pays a few $1,000s. Most people's health insurance only pays a few $1,000s. And the air ambulance services have back charged the patient or the patient's family for the difference. And what's happened is over the course of the last 18 years or so, the air ambulance service, at one time there was only about 300 air ambulance services in the United States. There's now over 900. And unfortunately, the number of patients, or maybe fortunately, the number of patients has remained about constant. But the cost of running these air ambulance services, when most of the time now they're sitting on a tarmac, because there's not as many patients per air ambulance service as there once was, the cost is skyrocketed. And so that's what we're trying to address, and I appreciate everyone's support. Thank you.
Well, thank you for clarifying that, Don, and hearing those prices, I was thinking maybe I should go out and buy a helicopter at least.
No, please, supply and demand clearly doesn't work in this case. Would you consider seconding my motion?
Yeah, second.
Thank you.
I have a question, Jackie. Do we have the potential language of the regulation?
I don't think that was provided to me. I just kind of got the overview and then the sample resolution. That would obviously be something for Congress to decide on based on, our support, NATO's support and lobbying on the issue.
Comment done?
I was just going to say that what we send, I'm the vice chairman of airports at the National Transportation Steering Committee for NATO, and what we generally do is we provide a resolution on the things that we think that NACO should adopt as policy. When this gets to the NACO legislative meeting, the Transportation Steering Committee as a whole will look at this issue, decide whether or not they want to include it in their annual policy that they want to lobby for construction of legislation in Washington, D.C. And if it's adopted, it'll be their policy for the following year. Continue in effect for 1 year, then each year all of their policy decisions have to be renewed. So it would be up to the legislature and Congress to decide what the language, specific language would say.
So we'll get a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Ms. Summers. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Just a couple of announcements, just information again for new board members. Julie, and this kind of goes to the question you asked. It's the same thing with our state legislative agenda and our federal legislative agenda. We can bring forth the idea and talk about what we want, but it's the legislative body that actually writes the language that they are going to be voting on. We don't get to just hand them a bill and say, please, present this on the floor. Would be nice. I think if we had more money, we could. There's some lobbyists out there that do stuff like that. But that being said, anybody here on the board, if you have an idea for an issue that needs to be a part of either our state or our federal agenda, please bring it forward. You're also, I'm sure, welcome to bring things forward to ISACO once that gets going, our state association. And I know many of our county-wide officials belong to various associations that lobby on their issues, and I would encourage them to reach out to their associations as well and get their issues front and center in front of those bodies. Our next meeting will be on February 11th. It is a Monday, which is different, but we have a Tuesday holiday that week, and our committee feels that it's important to keep moving forward. So we will be meeting on Monday, February 11th at 9 a.m., and all are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Next up, Capital Improvements Committee, Mr. Brooks, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive and ladies and gentlemen. I have no resolutions to bring forward. However, everyone should have an update on the capital improvement project attack. Our next meeting is February the 2nd, and Lloyd Summers already stole my punchline. Come to the groundbreaking at 1 o'clock at the Health Department. And our next meeting at 11 a.m. on February the 5th. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Next up, Executive Committee, Ms. Winfrey, Chairperson.
Good morning, Mr. Executive and fellow board members.
Good morning, Denise.
First resolution today, 18378, is on the table, so I'm going to move to remove it from the table.
Move by Mr. Denise Winfrey to remove the table. Second by Mr. Markham. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Barry?
Barry?
Yes.
Frislow?
Yes.
Ogala?
Yes.
Summers?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Mostis?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Traynere?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
Yes.
Ballinger?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
Yes.
Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Curlitis?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
26 affirmative.
26 affirmative. That has been removed from the table. Continue, Ms. Winfrey.
Thank you. You may remember this is the amendment regarding the Public Building Commission, and there was some question about the amounts to be removed or to be refunded. That has been solidified, and so I'm asking to amend it so that for the administrative budget amount is to be $40,000 for each year, and with a total of $80,000, and then the amount to be refunded to the county is $130,000. So I ask to amend as indicated.
You got that information? A motion to amend it, but table on the motion. Anybody, Ms. Winfrey? Second by Mr. Frizzalone. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Van Dyne and second by Ms. Ventura. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, the motion has carried.
Okay, Mr. Executive, I move to approve as amended.
As amended. Right?
Yes.
Well, moved by Ms. Winfrey, seconded by Mr. Markham. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Summers, second by Ms. Cook. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Thank you. Okay, we have Resolution 1916, which is the governance rules. I want to thank everybody for their work on that. There is one amendment, and it is in Section 9, Subpart A, replacement staff at Sunny Hill Nursing Home is accepted. I want to also add that maintenance workers for this building, so that, and that being that if we have people who need to be replaced for expediency so that we can get what needs to be done, that we don't wait 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, to replace those workers. So I move to amend that.
Which section?
No.
I'm sorry. Which section?
It is,
You got,
yeah.
Denise,
Sorry.
you got to put the, you make a motion, to move whatever the rules are, before you go amending, the rules.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
So that will be my first motion. Thank you, Mr. Executive. So first, a motion to amend the rules.
No.
To approve the rules.
To pass the rules.
Yes.
Okay. Then Ms. Winfrey makes a motion to pass the resolution for the rules, second by Mr. Markham. Any discussion? Mr. what? You've got a question, Mr. Muslin?
Yeah, I placed the rules on the floor. Now she's going to do the amendment?
Yeah, they're on the floor right now.
Okay, now she'll make the amendment.
Well, I gotta take the roll. I gotta take the roll.
No. She's
Now
going to make that amendment.
That's right. Okay. It's on the report. Now discussion. The discussion on what is on the floor.
Thank you.
The amendment.
Okay. Mr. Executive, I move that we amend the rules. It is section 105D9, subpart A, which is, and it says hires in advance of county board approval are hereby prohibited except in the following cases, and that is replacement staff at Sunnyvale Nursing Home. But I'd like to add to that, and maintenance workers in the county executive maintenance department. That would be
Motion to amend, she's made a motion, a second to her motion. Mr. Moran. Discussion. Mr. Mustis.
I'm thinking this is really not a necessary rule change. The practicality of it is the county executive or the nurse, anybody under the executive branch of government that we give advice and consent to already has that ability. I've done it, there's some communication, but the county executive, nursing home, they already have that ability to hire on an emergency basis. They've never been denied, to my knowledge, that they have hired on an emergency basis. The only risk they run, of course, is a person gets hired and then potentially is not approved. From a historical perspective, that person, I can't recall anybody being denied who was hired on an emergency basis. Quite frankly, I get concerned that this is an attempt to bypass the advice and consent of the board, and I would not support the amendment based on this board giving up its authority over advice and consent. So, and my comment.
Any other discussion? Mr. Friswell.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Mr. Moose's assessment. We do have in the rules already an emergency hire with prior approval of the county board speaker, legislative majority, and minority leader until such time that the hire is formally approved or disapproved by the public county board. So we have a kind of an emergency policy in there as well. I don't see why we need to make a special class maintenance. I mean, I can't imagine what the emergency is. There's a room dirty and we lost a person that has to clean right away. I'd like some clarification of what the emergency would be that we need a maintenance worker immediately without approval.
I'm up. Number one, I look at it, and like Mr. Eustace says, this is a responsibility of the county executive, and that if any time if there was an issue that we need to put a hire person in an emergency case, it would come from this office, and then have the consents in the following county board meeting, and is what the procedure is. That I don't know if the county board is looking to usurp the opportunity or my responsibility of working with my department heads and within the employment. Mr. Eustace?
Mr. Executive, respectfully, your office already has that ability.
That's what I'm saying.
So I don't know why we need to change it.
That's what I'm saying. That responsibility lies with me right now.
Correct.
And whether the county board is Republican or whether the county board is Democratic, that any of the departments that I'm 23 of them that I'm responsible for, that's part of my responsibilities. That's part of my responsibilities.
And that's my point, Mr. Executive. I don't
Yeah,
think there needs to be any change because you already have that ability.
Yes.
And the board is, as far as I know, the board has always recognized.
That's right.
So I don't think there's a need for a change.
Mr. President.
Yeah, again, the rule is already in the current rules. An emergency hire is just asked that you go to the leadership, and then it goes to the board just for approval. But you already have that in here for an emergency hire, so I don't know why I need to define it anymore.
Ms. Winfrey?
Mr. Executive, thank you. This is not intended to change the advice and consent, nor is it intended to move any powers away from the county executive's office. The question that arose, which this attempts to address, is that after we've given advice and consent to hire, if for whatever reason a person does not take the job or says yes and then cancels out, don't want to go back all the way through the entire process, want to be able to go to the next person on the list. If it's agreed through this body that can just happen without changing the rules, then I would move this request for amendment.
And that's how it works right now.
Right, it's in there.
And we work hand in hand with HR, and the ones that have submitted applications that are qualified, that we would go right down that line and list, and that's where that comes from. So you're trying to rewrite the rules or reinvent the wheel here, and let's don't make this so difficult that we don't know whether we're breaking the rules or not.
So, given that discussion, I would move to remove that request for amendment.
Remove from the table, remove from the agenda?
Yes.
Oh, no, just that one. Okay. Just that. Your amendment, you're removing your amendment.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're back to the regular rules and regulations. Okay. No, No, Meta? So, is there any other discussion or suggestions, Ms. Winfrey?
That was it.
That was all?
So-
No. Okay, so standing as is, we need a roll call on the rules, okay? Madam Clerk? Call roll. Wow.
Barry?
Yes.
Frizzalone?
Yes.
Ogalla?
Yes.
Summers?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Moostis?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Traynere?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura? Yes. Dallinger?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
Yes.
Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Krolitis?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
26 affirmative.
26 affirmative. Motion carries.
Next is, resolution is 1917. Mr. Executive, we have Mayor Kern and Attorney Gallo in the House to speak to that resolution if the need arises.
Yes, I have them. John is listed. Do either one want to speak before this is being discussed, or is there any questions? Just any questions, okay, that you can clear up, okay? Okay.
So 1917 is authorizing an IGA with the Village of Diamond for the expansion of the Diamond Enterprise Zone, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Van Dyne. Any discussion? Any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none. Previous roll for Ms. Rice, second by Ms. Cowan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
And we have Resolution 1918 authorizing an amendment to the OPEB Retiree Health Insurance Trust Agreement, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Summers. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Berkowitz, second by Ms. Dallinger. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
We have 1919 allocation of the recapture money from the Laraway Sewer and Water Project. And you should have a copy of this on your desk. I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, seconded by Mr. Tumanello. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Fritz, seconded by Ms. Berkowitz. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
We have 1920, which is renewing the contract for electronic recycling turnkey collection, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, seconded by Ms. Ogalla. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Rice, seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
We have 1921, renewing the contract for electronics recycling one-day collection events, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, seconded by Ms. Summers. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Ogalla, seconded by Mr. Brooks. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
We have 1922, authorizing an IGA with Custer Park Fire Protection District for access to countywide radio system, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, seconded by Mr. Van Dyne. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Gould, seconded by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
We have 1923, authorizing employment agreement between the County of Will and Rhonda Novak, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Rice. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Summers, seconded by Ms. Cowan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
We have 1924, replacement hires for the supervisor of assessments office, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, seconded by Mr. Markham. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll, Ms. Fritz.
Normally when we get one of these hiring forms, one of the pieces of information that is on the form is the starting salary. The job description contains a range of possible starting salaries, but the starting salary is not actually filled in on the form. And I'm just wondering why that is. Can we get that information before we take a vote? I don't want to vote on something that is not complete.
Is that for 1924?
Yes. The starting salary is not on there?
No.
The range shows the range there. Well, I don't know if it's Yvette? Yvette?
Yes.
You Foster?
It's $27,559.
Come on down. Come on down. There you go. Come on down. Come on down.
Go ahead.
This is a union job?
Yes.
So it's a part of the, yeah, so with that, give us your information.
This is a union position, it's the mapping clerk, 2 position, and the starting salary is $27,559, and then the end range is $51,080.
What is the starting salary?
It's $27,559.
Okay, so she is starting at that.
Yes. With the union positions, we have to show the beginning of the range to the end.
This is what we call entry level of a position in that office. That answer your question? Questions?
No.
Mr.
Not with you,
Mr. Brooks?
So in the future going forward, case in point, when these new hires do come forth to complete our voting, can the salary they're starting at be listed? Even though it starts here and the range is up there, it really doesn't tell exactly what that person is.
I thought I've been doing that. It just might be oversight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We try to tell them we have no fear with the highway department and everything else. And this is the range, and this is what they are making, the starting salary.
Could I ask, why do they have to include the range, like that high level? Why, if they're receiving X amount of dollars, why do we have to see what all the other extras, even though they're not getting it?
They might.
Some of them might.
If you have that experience.
So the road maintainers have been there 25 years, he is getting the top of the range. But the guy that just started and bringing his lunch bucket next week, he's going to get a lesser salary.
All right. Thank you. I'll take that job. Thank you. I'll qualify for that.
You got a lunch bucket?
Thank you.
Okay. Did we clear all that up? Yeah. So there's a motion to approve replacement hire. And we got a second. We got a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll call by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Cook. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
We have Resolution 1925, which is replacement hires for Sunny Hill Nursing Home.
So moved. So move, Denise.
Yes, I so move.
Move, second by Ms. Ogala. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Moran, second by Markham, Mr. Markham. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
We have 1926, which is a replacement hire for Sunny Hill Nursing Home as the Food Nutrition Services Manager, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Summers. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Perkowitz, second by Ms. Dollinger. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
And we have 1927, which is a replacement hire for the County Executive Maintenance Department, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Moran. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Our next executive committee meeting is scheduled for February 7th at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. We also have appointments by the county executive, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Van Dyne. Any discussion? Ms. Ogata?
Thank you. I know that it's very important for us to appoint people to these boards that will be good representatives of us. And I believe in that statement that we need people who have experience having been on the county board for certain specific appointments. And the one I'm speaking directly to is the Illinois State Association of Counties, where we have it's a very important organization. I believe that there are 20 long-standing county board members here, and with experience, having been on the county board, to be a good representative for us. Not that the person who's being put up as a representative wouldn't be a good one, but there is no experience as a county board member. So based upon that, I'm going to definitely be a no vote for the appointment at C. And that is my reasoning why. I think that's something we should look at, that we should appoint people to these boards that are going to represent the county, and they should have experience within the county.
Okay. This is a brand new organization that is being created. So,
yes, it is. So it makes sense to have somebody experienced.
I would say that, some brand new people that are getting started right off the bat participating, and that should have the opportunity to, but your comment was well taken. So, any other discussions? Any other discussions? So, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Terry?
Yes.
Frizzalone?
Yes.
Ogala?
I'm a no for the C appointment. And yes for the others. No.
You got to be yes or no.
You got to pull it out.
Or if you want to.
You'd have to make a motion to pull out C.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd
I'd like to make a motion to remove C from the appointments overall and vote on that separate.
Ms. O'Gall makes a motion to pull that one out of the list of appointments. A second. Second by Mr. Frizzalone. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Terry?
Yes.
Frizzalone?
Yes.
Ogala?
Yes.
Summers?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Mustis?
Yes.
Moran? Rice?
No.
Harris?
Yes.
Traynere? Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
No.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
No.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
No.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
No.
Dollinger?
Yes.
Markham?
No.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan? I'll abstain since it involves me. Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Curlitis?
Yes.
Winfrey?
No.
Change we do no.
Change me to a no as well.
Okay.
affirmative, 9 negative, 1 abstention.
16, yeah?
15
15
affirmative.
positive?
15 affirmative, 9 negative, 1 abstention.
That issue will be pulled out of this resolution, so. So we had started on a roll call for this, approve of this, removing this issue. Here, we'll continue on, call the roll for Ms. Winfrey's motion, the rest of the appointments there.
Ferry,
Yes.
Frizzalone,
Yes.
Ogalla,
Yes.
Summers,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Mustis,
Yes.
Moran,
Yes.
Rice.
Point of clarification, I am just voting on all appointments other than C right now.
That's right. Right. Okay.
Harris,
Yes.
Traynere, Fritz,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Van Dyne,
Yes.
Balich, Brooks,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Ventura,
Yes.
Ballinger,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Berkowitz,
Yes.
Cowan,
Yes.
Tumanello,
Yes.
Weigel,
Yes.
Perlitis,
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes. 25 affirmative.
25 affirmative. All of the board and commission's appointments have been approved. Now, Denise, you have to make a motion to do the one that has been pulled out.
Thank you. Mr. Executive, I move that the item C be accepted as put forward.
Yes, and this is the new appointment to this county board, send in a representative to the new, what is it called? Doctor, whatever. Yeah. So, anyway,
So that is...
motion and second on Mr. Tyler. Call the roll.
Ferry,
Oh, yes, Mr. Musil?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to appointments, where it comes from this board, this body, you know, me, I always try to make everybody pretty much know that their appointments were up. You know, for example, I represented us on many of these organizations for many years. Yet I wasn't even considered. And not that I wanted to go on. My point is that nobody else, to my knowledge, was even given any consideration. And it's an appointment that comes basically from this body. And that's what I probably have some issue with, is the process. And I have to say, you know, I probably wasn't always perfect when I did it, but there should be at least some kind of general knowledge in what we're looking for in somebody who represents us. They're representing this body. And because I didn't like and because lack of process here, and because there seems to have been no consideration for no one else except the person that's being nominated, I'm going to be a no. So I just wanted to kind of explain. I'm not really voting against the person or the process, the fact that nobody else even came remotely close to having an opportunity to serve on this. I have a problem with that. So I'm just going to, that's all I have to say, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ventura.
yeah, to Mr. Musis's point that no one else was considered, I would actually say that's false, because I had put my name up for consideration and spoke to Denise about it early on, and she had told me to put it in writing and then she would consider it. Obviously, based on appointment, that was not put forward. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that other people were considered for this appointment.
Mike, Mr. Frizzo.
Mr. Executive, you made my point. This is a new committee. It's representing all of the counties in Illinois. It's a new committee under formation. And what we really need as a representative, nothing against Mimi, but we need somebody that knows how this board already is working, knows some of the past history of some of the, and how they worked, and how Cook County tends to take the lead, so that we can have someone there navigate and help with the formation of this. You're down the line, maybe that's good, but we have no history here going to a brand new board that's being formed. So my vote would be a no as well. Thank you.
Denise, or Ms. Winfrey?
Thank you, Mr. Executive. Just for informational purposes, this is only one of the possible appointments to this board. There are a number of others. I chose this person because of their legislative experience, not necessarily on this board, but otherwise. So just putting that out there for information. There are other appointments that will happen to this board that have not come forward as yet, just so that you know. Just so that you know.
Mr. Frizzo?
Well, that's why Mimi may be great for the legislative committee, because the committee you're appointing to her is about the formation and moving forward with this new group. Mimi would be great for the legislation, which is got some legislative experience. But as far as formation, we need to have some history of what happened to the other boards, why they fell apart or didn't work to our advantage to get our points across, so that we can be moving forward with the creation of the board. There are other parts of this board that I think we maybe would do great for them. Comment.
Mr. Tyler?
Your point's well taken, but I will say that we shouldn't necessarily be afraid of a new perspective on different boards. She might have ideas coming from outside of county government that provides them with insight that maybe we have lost as sitting county board members. So I don't think that we should necessarily say that she's not qualified for that position just because she didn't come from that. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm young and people assume that I don't have the knowledge, but I know when you're coming in, you can have good ideas. You don't necessarily need to have on-the-job experience to have good ideas to bring forward.
Here, here.
It was my understanding that that they had a discussion in committee, and did you had to apply for or send in recommendation why you wanted it. I don't know what, but I thought it was discussed thoroughly in legislative committee. So anyway. Madam Clerk, call the roll. So.
Mr. Executive, I believe it's Don who has a question.
Oh, you want Gloria?
I guess.
Hold. Gotta get
There's
it
too many
down here.
online. Thank you. I guess I have two parts to my question. Was that I understand that you guys discussed it within your committee, but I have a feeling that on our side of the caucus, we were not even informed that there were any positions available. At least I know I never was informed that there was anything available in this particular organization. The other thing is that if there were other people considered, I would like to know if there were other, because maybe nobody else wanted the position within the caucus, and that's fine. So it would be nice to know if there were others considered. Thank you.
Gloria, I don't have an answer for you. Ms. Berkowitz?
Thank you. As far as the notice of this position, I just want to mention perhaps it's an oversight on my part, but I wasn't aware of the opportunity to apply. And so if it is an oversight on my part, I'd love to have bring that to my attention where is this information coming from. I certainly would be interested in applying to some opportunities. So it may be on my end, and if you can show me what I'm missing, where it's at, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Ms. Rice.
I just want to reiterate Mr. Markham's comments that I think that we have a candidate that's very experienced. Experience isn't just defined by your experience on the board, and I think it's a very appropriate appointment.
Mr. Markham, again.
I just had a question, kind of to Gloria's point. It was my understanding that when Suzanne Hart was the chair that we discussed this and this position being appointed. So I'm not sure. I'm just looking for clarification. We discussed that when we joined this, don't we? I'm just trying to remember.
You're right.
Yeah, thank you.
Ms. Summers?
Yeah, I actually have an email here that came out on December 20th with additional county executive appointments for January sent to the entire board from Lana. And they're attached to that were 2 additional county executive appointments for January 2019. And this came from the executive office, Nick Palmer, and here are actually 2 late arrivals. One replacement is for Lauren Ferry from the HCZBB board with Bob Navarro, and that would be Rachel Ventura. The second appointment is a brand new appointment for the new Illinois State Association for Counties, or ISACO, and that it would be Mimi Cowan. Everyone received that email, so you should know that at that time, I feel that would have been the time for you to put your request in and put that forward. And again, this was sent out on December 20th, so there's been, correct. And it was sent to the entire board.
Ms. Winfrey?
Mr. Executive, thank you. There is a lot of energy around this appointment, and what I would like to do is withhold that appointment until we have a chance to have further discussion among all members of this board so that people are comfortable with the picks, and then bring it forward at the next meeting, if I may.
Make a motion to remove it on the agenda.
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Can you give a no, please?
Can you show me the no?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Call the roll. Call the roll.
Ferry.
No.
Frizzalone.
Yes.
O'Gallo.
Yes.
Summers.
No.
Cook.
No.
Mustis.
Yes.
Moran.
No.
Rice.
No.
Harris.
Yes.
Traynere. Fritz. Mueller.
No.
Gould.
Yes.
Van Dyne.
No.
Balich.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Ventura.
No.
Dallinger.
Yes.
Markham.
No.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Cowan.
Yes.
Tumanello.
Yes.
Weigel.
Yes.
Crolitis.
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes.
Affirmative, 9 negative.
Take a
turn, okay.
All the Democrats felt over it. Okay, 15. No. Okay, 15.
16 affirmative.
16.
16.
Affirmative to remove from it the agenda. Motion has carried.
Thank you. Mr. Executive, that is my report.
So, next on our agenda is public comment, and anybody from the general public wish to speak, on any issue. Comments by the county board members. Ms. O'Gala.
Thank you. I would like to make everybody aware of the fact that every year for I can't tell you how many years, we've had a situation that comes up every time there's a new governor. Once again, the airport is brought up. So today, this evening, at the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association, Rick Ryan will be giving a presentation on behalf of Congresswoman Robin Kelly for submitting the South Suburban Airport to the capital plan. This is a project that's been going on for more years than many people, some of the new people have even been alive on the board. It's been talked about since the late 60s, this particular project, like in the 80s, and land acquisition began in 2002. This project continues, it's a dead project. Airlines don't support it, the FAA has never approved it, there is no funding for it. What happens is a certain group of mayors continue to push for it, and in pushing for it, they're using tax dollars. I believe that after 30-some years of pushing for this particular location, that we need to take a step back and say, is this the right use of our tax dollars? Will this bring economic development, as they claim, to the south suburbs? I believe it will not. The airlines have never supported it. It's completely out in the middle of the country. There is no road infrastructure, any infrastructure of whatever source. Those tax dollars would be better spent to help improve things in those communities, provide programs to help those residents get the training necessary for jobs that are out there today, versus continuing to promise these poor people in the south suburbs a job. I wanted everyone to be aware of the fact that they are going to continue to push for this, and for you also to think about the fact that tax dollars could be spent on other improvements, such as, improvements on I-80, improvements on I-55, helping with the mobile bridge, things that are needed today, will be done today, versus the continuation of pushing a project in hopes that it might bring economic development. While doing that, it would take over 20,000 acres of farmland. And I want everyone to be aware of the fact that O'Hare is only on 7,000 acres. The amount of money and the amount of money put forth, the land that is being grabbed for a project that's been going on for over 30 years at this chosen site is something we should really strongly consider. That's part of Will County. That impacts our dollars. It impacts the fact that every time the state buys land, that property is taken off the tax rolls. And special legislation had to be put forth so that any lease dollars could come back to us for the cost of the different taxing bodies. Many different things implied. But again, they're going to be doing this tonight at South Suburban Mayors and Managers meeting at 6 p.m. in East Hazel Crest. Thank you.
Mr. Mustis?
Yeah, if I may just expand a little bit on Judy's comments. I think it should be noted that 30 years ago, Will County was supportive of the airport development. A lot happened over a 30-year period. And initially started off, the Will County Airport, owned and operated by Will County. Now this has become, and that was our initial, but we should make clear that these are Cook County communities that are pushing a development in Will County. We've had many developments come here. Maybe the latest is created and continues to create a lot of controversy, the North Point development. This airport makes North Point look like minor leagues in its impact. And I think when you look at congestions and so forth, if you're concerned about North Point, you better really be concerned about this airport, potentially. And then all basically, and run by Cook County communities, with Will County having no say whatsoever. Now we continue to fight here in Will County for the airport, but we were fighting, we were in parts in support, because if we abandoned support, they were just going to completely hand it over to Cook County communities, and we wouldn't have any say. they were just going to say, we oppose the airport and so forth. But I do think that this body should, along with the executive branch and others, you know, we should sit down and talk about whether this development is something that should continue to be supported by Will County. You know, I used to say this airport will never get built. Then I used to say, I think it's going to get built. Now I'm back to, I don't think it's going to get built. But it doesn't mean it couldn't go forward and have a very negative impact on Will County, while Will County reaps none of the benefits. You know, municipalities don't have to be continuous to an airport, own and operate the airport, just so everyone knows it. So, you know, if Chicago wanted to put an airport in Will County, they could. You know, that's how the law is written. So, not just Chicago, they don't want another airport, you know. But my point is we probably, you know, Larry, you and I go back on this from day one, and you know, we probably haven't had a discussion for some time, but on this particular issue. But I think it's time that we do at least sit down and recap it and discuss it, especially for new folks. Let's look at where the landscape currently is, and I think it's something we should take up. Now, Denise, I would suggest that maybe you either keep, you know, point it to a committee, or you can do a committee as a whole at some point, or maybe you could have a discussion at the executive committee, or you can just put some, you know, group together and start a discussion. So, but we should review it going forward. Thank you.
Alex?
You know, I think one of the things that we have to look at with that airport too is the idea that if they start this project again, we're going to do eminent domain again and keep taking more and more farmland, this good farmland, out of production, and the state's going to own the land. And if this airport doesn't get built for 20 years, we're minus all that produce that those farms produce, and the people get displaced when they didn't have to be displaced. So, I mean, just because Cook County wants something, I think of Cook County as a predator. That they're coming out here trying to move in on our turf because they don't want stuff here. They grew themselves into being broke, and now they want to come here and start taking our resources. So we have to be real careful about Cook County, and all the things that they say is good isn't good for us.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks?
Mr. Executive, if I can just fly over to a different subject right now. On Monday, as you know, is Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, and I would hope everybody will observe in their own way. However, we got a new movement now called Not a Day Off, but a Day On. In 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King gave his life in Memphis, Tennessee, doing for others. So now it's called Not a Day Off, but a Day On. There's non-profit agencies all over Will County. You can donate your time and energy. However, if you feel energetic, my windows need washing at my church. Thank you so much.
Just something to think about. Okay, we'll make sure that happens. I'll get right on that. Ms. Price?
Yes. I'm not sure if there's a problem with the system. I keep coming up as Jackie Traynere. She's Jackie Traynere, so it's like there's two Jackies. No bad, but I keep losing my spot in line, so I think there might be a problem. But what I wanted to comment on today...
I know you're not Jackie.
Jackie's been quoted.
If you would have stayed in the seats that we're at,
I liked my seat.
No, you and that Jackie turned around.
All right, mystery solved. Board Member Tumanella's comments today reminded me of...
Into your mic, please. The mic's not the best, but if you sit too far away from them, we don't pick up your volume.
All right, how's this?
That's it.
All right. Board Member Tumanilla's comments about solar farm lottery process at the state level, and then the process that we might want to consider here at the county for permitting reminded me of how important I think it is that we look at energy procurement as a whole board. As we did today, I really appreciate the overview. And make sure that it doesn't just stay siloed at committee level. I understand the importance of it staying at committee level when it's committee specific. But I do think that we all need to understand how complicated it is and devote some time at the full county board level to address it. Because Board Member Tumanilla's point is well thought out, that we are going to increase cost just because we're short-sighted on the permitting process. So I guess my comment is that I want to see us look more as a full board, understand it, not make silo decisions, make informed decisions that really are good for Will County.
Thank you. Mr. Tumanello?
Yeah, just in real quick response. What I'm asking to go back to the committee level is just the change in the ordinance, because the ordinance for the special use needs to be changed, and that, so it's something completely a little different, but yeah, I agree. It's a very important topic. It is being short-sighted on our side, looking at the way we're doing things now. I look forward to some kind of amended proposed change, but just clarifying that I'm not asking that whole thing get shoved in the committee, just the portion that has to be changed that deals with the actual ordinance for the special use. All right.
Okay, any other county board member that wants the floor? Announcement by the majority leader, Mr. Mark Ferry. Mark Ferry.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. First of all, I want to recognize the celebration of Dr. King's birthday coming up here. And also, I want to re-recognize Sister Vivian Whitehead's work, and 40 years worth of it. That's a real accomplishment. Thank you very much. Also, be careful this weekend. Mother Nature is going to be playing some nasty tricks with snow. It's going to be heavy snow, according to reports I've seen. So do be careful. Some of us older members loosen up with $20 and let some kid run your snowblower. I'm sure a few of us have that available, and let's not get caught up in that. And then the good news is, by February 15th, Major League Baseball pitchers and catchers will be reporting to spring training, and we'll finally get something to watch pretty soon on TV. And that's it.
Thank you. Minority leader, Mr. Frisano.
Hey. Thanks, Mark, for taking all my speech. I appreciate it. But I did want to piggyback on what Mr. Brooks and Summers announced about our groundbreaking. You know, I want to congratulate this board and several previous boards. This is going to be the third groundbreaking we're having in just over 3.5 years. And this time, 2 years from now, we'll have 3 state-of-the-art buildings fully occupied. Yeah. So there's a lot of things happening in this county, and I think this board and previous board can congratulate themselves on moving those things forward and having the vision to understand that when you build new state-of-the-art buildings that have a 50 to 75-year life, you're really doing a service to the community, because you are making the building more responsive to the way we operate these days, and you're also investing in the future, hopefully that you won't have to build that building every 20 years. So I do want to congratulate everybody on that. The other thing I want to mention is for you stargazers, Sunday night is going to be a super blood moon. and it will be a lunar eclipse as well. The next one I think I read was 86 years from now. There's a pretty good chance most of us won't get to see that one, so don't miss this one. Like Mark said,
I'd stick it around.
okay, and the snow this weekend, I just think the weather guys are just dying to predict the blizzard. And so it's probably not going to be as bad as they predict. Unfortunately, I will be in the Bahamas this weekend. So if y'all want to save me some snow, drop it off at the house afterwards. I'll do it. Thanks.
Our board speaker, Ms. Winfrey.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. Just want to point out, it is the King Day celebration weekend. On Saturday, there is a brunch from 10 until 2, I believe it is, at the Jacob Henry Mansion. It's a unity brunch, so encourage people to attend that. On Sunday at 6 o'clock at St. Paul Church in Joliet is the Will County observance for King Day. That's an historical service that includes a lot of church leaders, political leaders, and the like, so encourage people to join us for that. On Monday at Joliet Township High School, beginning at 7 o'clock, there will be breakfast, and then people will be divided out, set on particular work for the day, not his windows, but other jobs for the day of service. So if you have a chance, you can come down to the new state-of-the-art cafeteria at Joliet Central and be a part of that service. So we encourage you to do that. I want to say also thanks to all of our board members today for the work that has gone before today. We are in a stable fiscal position in the county. We have a number of, as Mike mentioned, state-of-the-art facilities that are underway, some finished, so we have done great work. Look forward to continuing to do great work. And then I also want to thank all of you for your lively discussion today and your input. So look forward to continuing that going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing there no further business, this Will County Board will stand at recess to Thursday, February 21 at, let's hope, close to 9:30.
All right.